What's up, guys? I know it's been a while since I've been in this setting. I actually got a new lighting setup that I'm pretty stoked about. I think it's doing a really good job. So I had to wait for a couple other things to show up so I could do this video and put it together for you guys. It's a video all about fat burners, and I've got 4 different fat burners that I'm going to compare. I've used all of them. I've been using them for the last couple months now, and cycling between them to kind of get an idea if there's any difference between them, which ones I like the most, if there's anything that stands out. So I'll go through them real quick. First on the list is Thermal XTC from Nutrabolics. This is the OG one for me. This is what I started with, and great flavor. It does have the lowest caffeine content per serving out of all of these, but very effective in terms of appetite suppression, and I will get into that in a moment. Next on the list is Diablo from ANS Performance. This, honestly, I didn't get the same effects as Thermal XTC. When I drank this, I just didn't really feel much of anything. It didn't wake me up, it didn't get me moving, didn't really do much for appetite suppression, and I didn't really like the flavor. So this is probably my least favorite out of the bunch, and I actually only wound up with it because Thermal XTC was sold out at the time. Next up, Burn Cycle from Perfect Sports. This is probably one of my favorites out of the group, mostly because it has 200 milligrams of caffeine, the most per serving out of all of these, and it's the best way that I can kickstart my day and boost my metabolism. So that's probably one of my faves. Lastly, Mammoth Burn. This is new to me. I've been using it for the last 2 weeks, I'd say. Amazing, amazing flavor. One quick thing about Mammoth Burn though, on the front of the label, it does say 312 milligrams and 60 servings, but when you flip it over and you look at the ingredient profile breakdown, it is actually only 156 milligrams per scoop. The reason that they do this is because they recommend you take 2 scoops per day to get the best results out of this, therefore adding up to 312 milligrams of caffeine. Because when I first saw that, I was like, whoa! But yeah, unfortunately, guys, not the case for a 1 scoop serving. So if you break it down, and you're taking 2 scoops a day, you're really only getting 30 servings, essentially. But if you just do 1 scoop a day, then yeah, you are getting 60 servings, so that's great. Now, ingredient profile. All of these are basically the same because there's only so much that you can put into a fat burner in Canada, and caffeine is really the most effective and powerful ingredient in all of these. That's why I put a big focus on caffeine. That's what's going to help boost your metabolism, help suppress appetite, and really get you moving. It's a stimulant, obviously, and it is the most effective. If you took caffeine out of these, you probably wouldn't get much of anything. Caffeine is king, and I'll break down each one. So Thermal XTC actually only has 135 milligrams of caffeine. It's the lowest out of the bunch. In terms of caffeine, this is the lowest per serving, so if you're someone who's caffeine sensitive but still want to take a fat burner, then I would definitely look at Thermal XTC. It is delicious and still effective. ANS Performance Diablo is 150 milligrams per serving, but it is also 60 servings, so that is a bonus for that. Burn Cycle is 200 milligrams per serving of caffeine, so that's why this is my go-to to kickstart my day. Also, really great flavor and not too sweet. And like I just talked about a moment ago, Mammoth Burn is actually only 156 milligrams per scoop. Now, it is a 60 serving tub, so I typically do like a scoop and a half to get me roughly around the 200 and something milligram mark, and I find that's a great way to start my day and tastes great. Works. So the next key ingredient that's in these is green coffee bean extract. It's known to have weight loss properties, appetite suppression, and all that good stuff. It also has antioxidants for good gut health, which is also associated with weight loss. So that's why that's in there. There's also L-tyrosine, which is an amino acid. I wasn't too familiar with it, but it is in all of these, and it's obviously there for a reason. During my research, though, I couldn't really find any concrete evidence that says L-tyrosine is super effective. It's all just claims that it has these weight loss benefits, mental focus, and like athletic performance boosting. So it is just another amino acid that is linked to weight loss and appetite suppression. Also, L-carnitine, which is what I would expect to find in any fat burner these days because it is the most commonly found amino acid in these types of products. However, Thermal XTC decided not to include it, which I found odd. I don't know why, I'm sure there's a reason, but it is in the others. One thing I did notice is that Thermal XTC had an extra ingredient that the others didn't have. They all have other ingredients in them, like different fruit extracts that I didn't really touch on because I couldn't find anything overly effective about them. I'm not gonna say fillers, I'm sure there's a reason they're in there, but they're just not as effective as those other key ingredients that are shared among these. But Thermal XTC did have one that is worth talking about because for some reason, when I took Thermal XTC, I had this appetite suppression that the others didn't give me. So I could take this in the morning and I didn't feel hungry for a really long time. And I was like, okay, what's in this that's not in the others that is actually working? It's actually called Malabar Tamarind, and it's an Asian fruit extract that's in here. And it is known for weight loss and appetite suppression. So I'm gonna go on the basis that that clearly has some appetite suppression properties that are really at work here. And hats off to Nutrabolics for putting it in there because that is something that people look for in a fat burning product. So if that is on your list of things that you're looking for, definitely check out Thermal XTC. I'll be real with you. These are not magic potions for weight loss. That would be ridiculous. They are just meant to help boost your metabolism, get you going, and help suppress hunger. But it's not going to just happen by itself. You can't just drink a fat burner and then go sit on the couch and expect to shred fat. It doesn't work that way. All of these are meant to be taken mixed in with a healthy diet and an active lifestyle. The last thing I want to talk about is fat burners of the past versus fat burners now. It is a completely different animal, and that is due to one major thing, one major ingredient, and that's ephedrine. Ephedrine is actually the first herbal supplement that was ever banned by the FDA. So that should tell you something. It's really no joke. It's responsible for a lot of deaths, a lot of adverse health effects, side effects from ephedrine, and it is no longer allowed to be put into any product. It is, however, still sold in Canada as a nasal decongestant. That's really the workaround for them to be able to sell it. You can actually get it at most of your supplement stores, but it is advertised and sold as a nasal decongestant. If you are thinking about taking ephedrine, I highly recommend you do some research on dosages. It is a serious thing. I have personally experimented with ephedrine in the past and I have had really great benefits. It is super effective as a fat burner, especially stacked with caffeine. I'm sure you've heard of the ECA stack. That was super popular, still is popular, but it's actually just mostly EC now, which is ephedrine and caffeine. It used to be ephedrine, caffeine, and aspirin. The aspirin was kind of proven to be redundant and unnecessary, so really people just stack ephedrine and caffeine together, and it really puts your body into hyperdrive, and that's where you really get those thermogenic effects, whereas with these products, they all claim thermogenic. I honestly didn't get any thermogenic effects from these, but maybe that's because I'm used to when I have used ephedrine in the past that really like makes you sweat. It's a very powerful stimulant, so it puts you in like a hyperdrive state, and it's really effective for weight loss and burning fat, but I am not promoting it. Please, if you want to use ephedrine, or if you plan to incorporate that into your weight loss or fat burning plan, just be safe about it, do your research. If you have any questions about it or my experience with it, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. Just drop it in the comment below. Send me a DM on Instagram or email or whatever. We can have a conversation about it. But it was the key ingredient stacked with caffeine that made fat burners so effective. And now that it's gone, I know it's a struggle for these manufacturers to produce something that is really effective and efficient at burning fat. That's why none of these are going to, it's not going to change your life. You're not going to take these and suddenly be ripped, guys. That's the blunt and honest truth. They are just there as a boost and a help to help you reach those goals, burn those extra calories, and just, kind of boost your metabolism a little bit to get you to where you want to be. I know right now with all the strange times and things are starting to kind of get back to a normal way of life, we're getting there. So I'm assuming a lot of people like myself are going to be after the fat burners because we've been a lot more idle, probably put on a couple pounds that we're going to try and work off as soon as we get back into the gym, or now that it's nice weather outside, get out and do more active things. That's what I'm doing. But I start every day with a fat burner instead of a coffee to get me moving. We're rolling into summertime, so everyone's after that beach body, and fat burners are probably gonna be flying off the shelf. So that's why I thought it was an important time to do this, to talk about all these. But essentially you're getting the same thing in all of these products in different variations. Like I said, for me, caffeine content is king, and I want something that's powerful, that's going to wake me up, that's going to get me moving, and get out the door to do something active. So I want a high caffeine content. If I had to pick a favorite, I don't like picking favorites, by the way, but if I had to pick a favorite, honestly, it would be between the Burn Cycle and the Mammoth Burn. The only thing is with the Mammoth Burn, I do have to take about 2 scoops to really get full force, or probably 1.5 scoops really will definitely do the trick. Flavor wise, both of these are absolutely incredible. If you're gonna get a fat burner, I'm gonna recommend you pick between these two. And if you have any questions about them, fire away. That's really it, guys. I really appreciate everyone who watches, likes, subscribes. It means the world to me. And if you could hit that subscribe button, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And until next time, see ya.